You're done. You're washed. It's over.
Now, the term living up to the hype would be portrayed for a lot of things when it comes to high expectations over a highly advertised acquisition, event, or any source of medium. And that was portrayed for Deadpool. Coming out of all the Fox Marvel licenses, Deadpool has been the most anticipated, knowing both two movies involving him and Cable in his original film knocked it right out of the park, including some connections over with X-Force, the X-Men, and the correlation of trying to transition that to the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, trying to retcon or at least try to denounce the multiversal madness that has been the recent phases of X-Men, being self-aware and seeing if they can transition that and cruise over to a different direction. Will this involve Marvel humor or Deadpool humor? It was an astounding movie. I want to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. Out of all the things that's been catching my attention, other than the Robert Downey Jr. reveal back at Comic-Con recently involving him being the new Doctor Doom, that I'm excited for. It is great. You know how much many people, including me, that have grown up with Doctor Doom, want to see him in the movies, and portrayed by a multifaceted actor that it is kind of the crucifixion of what happened over with Jonathan Majors as well, because it was supposed to be the Kang Dynasty over the multiversal mess, while going over Kang with his multiversal doppelgangers coming over, involving the Avengers fighting him off. But for a more interesting and more important villain that involved in the cinematic universe that correlates over with Iron Man and a lot of heroes, while we're having the Fantastic Four movie still come out. So Doomsday is going to be awesome. But instead of me overtaking that, I'm going to talk about the movie. Outstanding, by the way. So this kind of begins over with Deadpool trying to transition off of being a solo merc with the mouth, being less over a vigilante and finding his own call and actually using his powers to help people after an issue with his girl that he literally went back in time, and now he's going over another losing her every time he loses her in a fucking show. In a fucking movie. One time travel over with Cable to stop her from dying. And after Happy, that was instructing the interview while making jokes over him being the chauffeur, limo driver to a close relationship with Tony Stark, and now overseeing new future Avengers. And the movie then overtakes after a rejection over the interview with Happy to see how could Deadpool redirect himself for a new phase of his life now that his girl has left him, trying to find other people, trying to find himself, be the hero that he always wanted to be, while working over in a dealership with the guy that survived over in X-Force that has type 2 diabetes. And we go off from there. Then it involved and it's not even how the movie opened. We had the Deadpool literally fighting the goddamn TBA. Yes, the TBA from Loki. The overseas time traveling. They were coming to prune him because he was digging up Wolverine. And then they were incredibly self-aware, being like, how could we do this without, disrespecting the death of Logan? They didn't, even though he was trying to bury over his dead body, thinking that he just regenerated and just needed to wake up. Nope, his entire skull, even though partially adamantium, is completely decayed. And he fights over the TBA using every piece of his body of Wolverine, and then the transition plays over while having ba 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 ba. I hope I don't get copyrighted for singing the damn song. I swear to God, YouTube be really stingy over the copyright strikes, even if you just sing it with your own voice. Yeah, and just the credit scene, the introduction, Hugh Jackman, and the reason why he was even digging up Wolverine, because he needed like an original Wolverine to come over and save the ending of save the complete disappearance of Deadpool's universe. So he needs to find a completely different Wolverine to replace the dead one, the main Wolverine that was Logan. So, just to not retcon over his death and just get a different one from a different universe. So you get comic real size Wolverine. I don't even know how. They had Henry Cavill dressed up as Wolverine. My favorite looking Wolverine with the brown and yellow suit fight Hulk in a small little cameo. And they reference it. A lot of also references. He even low-key referenced that Robert Downey even becoming the new Doctor Doom. And this, until he reaches over the new Wolverine, is supposedly the worst one over, after Wolverine downed a whole ass bottle. It got pulled over to the TBA just to be called the worst one to replace him because of an incident involving him neglecting the X-Men, getting assaulted by humans, and then all dying. Like, humans, it possibly means... Yeah. I forgot what the robots were called that killed him, but yeah, that possibly happened. Or else they could have went the other route, where Logan went to, that involved him going crazy and murking every X-Man when he lost control. No, I think that was supposed to be Xavier that lost control of his psychic powers and killed everybody except Wolverine. Very dark endings that happen with the X-Men every freaking time. 97 is gonna be crazy. I know they're gonna continue that. So after being pruned over to like the wasteland of rejects, so you see the Fox logo of former properties of Marvel, the Marvel films. I don't know if they're gonna bring the original Marvel films over to Disney Plus, even though that would be cool to see Spider-Man 2 on Disney Plus. You see, not Steve Rogers. You get Johnny Storm. Yes, you get Johnny Storm pull up in the wasteland because of, also Fox had rights over to the Fantastic Four. We don't want to remember Fan Four Stick. I think none of us want to remember Fan Four Stick at all, bro. So you hear Flame On, bro. That brung me back, bro. It was insane. Until like Wolverine like one-shot Sabretooth on kind of my most underwhelmed fight. You thought to be more violent than the time after being just torn up, and Deadpool lasted a couple shots while insulting Wolverine being the worst one. He kind of just one little swipe between one another, and yeah, Sabretooth got his head chopped off. Also like Yukiko is still together with Super Teenage Negasonic. I forgot her name. The bald girl that can, I guess, create momentum and like blast herself. Negasonic Teenage Warhead. So that was nice to see. So a majority of characters that you possibly remember, except the one friend that snitched on Deadpool in the last movie. Kind of is not there. Dom Pander is still there. So they go over to see Cassandra Nova. That's a relative. Yes, she is the sister of Xavier. She also has psychic powers, but a different way how to manipulate people instead of using Cerebro or telekinesis. She goes literally hands deep to go over to see Wayne and manipulating his thoughts to bring him down, while a giant like monster sucks up their existence, and then they transition from there, trying to go back to a completely different timeline and try to stop her. Bro, we see like the most insane amount of a development over Wayne. It was cool to see Pyro as well. You get to see Toad, Johnny Storm, that got literally like his skin peeled off after like Loki insulting Cassandra for the majority over the scene before, when Deadpool snitched. So that was a bit interesting. That was a bit interesting. I won't lie. We even got to see like a different Deadpool called Nice Pool for a majority over the scene with him having long hair. His face is normal, so I guess he doesn't have the regenerative abilities, obviously, because his skin is completely different. Where Deadpool literally is, the regenerative ability is just healing him and also his cancer that's rapidly always taking over his body. So he's practically immortal. This even goes over to another fight that was over my favorite scene that involved like Wolverine like tearing Wade Wilson a new one, going over him being obnoxious, delusional, stupid. It goes over to a very personal fight, ripping them apart, shooting him, and then they just scene over to them looking like they just finished clapping cheeks over in the car, even though they were just fighting. It was insane. Even the time when they were going to try to overrule Cassandra with some of the other rejects that weren't killed yet, like Elektra, Blade, Gambit in his original look, for once. I don't even know how. And Laura, all grown up from the original Logan timeline, to help Logan and Deadpool go back. All with the reoccurring scenes with the Deadpool dog. And almost every scene was insane, especially over the time when like Deadpool was helping over the TBA, like the immense disrespect of the Fox rights. It's like, I'm going to Disney World, motherfucker. And then just the self-awareness, that was my favorite scene. Over as like, guys, we all know this phase, the phase sucks. The multiversal shit ain't it. It's mid, incredibly out of place. So obviously the occurrence was just coming from the self-awareness, Wade developing over his own path, a kind of a redemption scene over a dark time for the newer Wolverine, knowing what happened to his X-Men. Well, Cassandra's coming over to take over after a mutual agreement that he had over the TBA. Well, like a secret base of operation, because they think that their way of pruning different universes is more efficient than the newer TBA correlating over with Loki. So yeah, a lot of over the lore with the TBA corresponds what goes over the Disney Plus series that will catch a lot of fans over off guard. Because of course Disney Plus wants content for their streaming service that comes over from the MCU fan base to extend over for a casual audience. But that means you gotta watch all the content. So that's another headache and a half. That doesn't mean that I'm still not a fan, but obviously there's a correlation of flaws that distincts over this. But people will know that this is a Deadpool movie. It got an amazing fan reception. We end with a massive endgame fight that involves everybody from Blade getting his own scenes, Gambit exploding everybody, Elektra have just with the size. She's just with the fucking size. Laura just cooking everybody, forgetting that she literally has blades on her feet. Cooking Juggernaut. Johnny Storm is still dead. Bruh. And it ends over with Cassandra using a sling ring to go over so she could take over the TBA and utilize her powers to take over the universe and to try to take over multiple universes before Deadpool and Logan conduct it, try to stop her, utilizing their regenerative powers to try to disrupt her in the machine to take over while showing Wolverine's shirt, because of course we can't have Hugh Jackman without him shirtless, because he takes care of himself. Kudos to him. Very entertaining movie. Deadpool Dog was cool. It was good to see a Western version of Deadpool. Always. The final fight involving Wolverine putting on the OG mask for once while in uniform was tough. His redemption story would have been nice over in depth what completely happened over his universe. Over being universally hated. While the crazy fight scene with the multiple Deadpools was hilarious, but incredibly CGI'd, especially the time when they obviously know that the mask is a bit too unrealistic, so they had to CGI it without Hugh Jackman looking completely silly, while having Peter kind of keep the Deadpools at bay, knowing that he's loved in every universe. And we close off with everything trying to be rewritten, trying to restore, while trying to give Logan a new life. Hopefully he correlates well with the X-Men when they come to part and see how this transitions in the MCU way of things. This is a very nice movie. I give this an 8 out of 10. I'd recommend everybody to watch it. That's above 18, low-key. I'm not gonna lie. This is a Deadpool movie, guys. Deadpool movie is incredibly, even though it's off the wall, fourth wall breaking, primarily hilarious, it is incredibly violent. Wouldn't recommend around children unless you already F them up, because they're around the internet 24/7. So even though it's E for 18, I saw a lot of young people leaving the movies as well when I was with my family. So, oh yeah, I forgot about my family, so I'm not even a good example. So, yeah, it's just a fun movie. Absolutely fun movie. I think there's plenty of other shows that I need to continue watching that I'd recommend, like, of course, the Fallout series. I have not finished it. I think I'm only 3 episodes in, and I wanted to continue watching as soon as I was finally done with school. So, hopefully there's a lot more content for me to watch. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, even though I was as vague as I could put it, or at least try to push over some details that hopefully wasn't missed. Especially the after the credits scene that had Deadpool correcting that Johnny Storm said all that shit to deservedly get ripped apart. That's it from me over on the DSC Show. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for all the love over the last upload. Continue that from the past uploads and ongoing. That's it from the DSC Show.